I think it's about time that I clear something up. Perhaps one of the least popular decisions that I made during this game cycle was the decision to end the Divas Division. Now, back around Night of Champions, I mentioned that I was disbanding the division for two reasons. I believe that there wasn't enough talent to keep things fresh, and I also believed that the division had grown stale. What I didn't mention, however, was that my own booking was partially to blame for the latter. Ironically, the fall of the Divas Division began around the time that my Universe mode started to pick up, and it all started at the end of WWE 2K14. With the delayed release of WWE 2K15, I ran out of content to cover the distance between Survivor Series and the release date. As a result, TLC fell sometime in October, leaving a large gap before WWE 2K15. Following TLC, I knew that my current Divas champion, Caitlyn, would not be in the new game, and since I had some extra time to work with beforehand, I decided to host a bonus episode of Universe Mode, a season finale as I called it. I didn't want to start WWE 2K15 in the middle of a month, leaving new viewers in the dark as to what had been going on. So let's ignore the fact that this episode doesn't canonically fit into the Universe Mode calendar and is both a filler episode and a plot hole. The only real purpose of this episode, other than to stretch content over this unexpected gap period, was to crown a new Divas champion. Unfortunately, my strongest contenders, Oksana and Lita, were also cut from the roster, so any work I had done to develop these challengers went to waste. With the talent that I had left, I threw together a fatal four-way that featured Natalya, Nikki Bella, and Summer Rae as the challengers. At the time, I had no expectations for Nikki, which either left Natalya, a former champion, and Summer Rae, someone who I had been developing, but she was far from being the centerpiece of the division. In fact, with Caitlyn's departure, I was left without a centerpiece to build my division around, and that's why everything regarding the division fell apart. In a hypothetical situation, let's say that Natalya, easily the best last-ditch option, won the title and temporarily carried the division. Moving forward, the only women on the Day 1 roster who I could see potentially headlining the division were AJ Lee and Natalya. Sure, Paige and Emma eventually entered the picture to help fill in the gaps, but by that point the damage was done. So instead of relying on Natalya, when Summer Rae won the Fatal 4-Way, I decided to give her a chance. She even defeated Natalya at the Royal Rumble, but elsewhere in the division, the cracks were already forming. Unlike in WWE 13, where I could alternate between Beth Phoenix, AJ, Natalya, and Karma, or in 2K14, where I had AJ, Natalya, Caitlyn, and even Lita in reserve, I didn't have an established name other than Natalya or AJ to help keep things interesting. Couple that with a mix between simulation and user-controlled matches, and this division didn't stand much of a chance at all. The WrestleMania match between Brie Bella and Summer Rae was an all-time low for the division, and while things did progressively improve once Paige, Tamina, and Emma took over, the division had already hit rock bottom. I will admit that WWE 2K16 had more variety in its female cast than in 2K15, although that really isn't saying much. Yet, while I was content with where the division was going, I was already burned out after months of scraping by with only 8 women to alternate between. The lack of the 4 horsewomen really lowered my spirits as well, and that's part of the reason why I ended the division when I did. I just felt that the division deserved more than what I could give it. I don't regret this choice, especially now that WWE 2K17 has increased its women's roster to 18 active female competitors from day 1, 23 if you count Lita, Trish, Alundra Blaze, Stephanie McMahon, and Nia Jax. Among those 18 day 1 wrestlers are 8 new competitors in the franchise, 9 if you include Nia Jax, but since I won't be getting the NXT edition, I'll have to wait for her as DLC. Not only is there plenty of new talent to revitalize the division, but there are at least 10 more women than there initially were in WWE 2K15, which will give me more time to develop characters and more room for competition. Now I can slowly build somebody up like I wanted to with Tamina a year and a half ago, without leaving the main event scene dry of challengers. This year's roster as a whole is one of the best in quite some time. Dare I say the best of all time? That statement will probably set a few people off, but I think that the new game should put an emphasis on new talent rather than old talent. And WWE 2K17 is doing that in full force this year. With guys like AJ Styles, Braun Strowman, The Revival, and American Alpha on the Day 1 disc, as well as Shinsuke Nakamura and Apollo Crews in the NXT edition, this game could be one of the best WWE games that we've had in quite some time. At the very least, my Universe mode is going to be better than it's ever been. I'm excited. I hope that you're excited. Let me know down in the comments section what you're most excited for in WWE 2K17. And until next time, keep on YouTubing.